Okay, it's 5:30 and I'm calling the June 2nd meeting of the Historic Site Preservation Board to order. May we have the roll call, please?
Chair Hansen,
Present.
Vice Chair Bachman,
Present.
Member Hare,
Present.
Member Ponessa,
Present.
and Member McCready and Member Marcia Hitchcock called in advance and told me that they would be absent today. So we do have a quorum of 4.
Okay, may we have the staff report on the posting of the agenda?
Yes, the agenda for this meeting was posted for public review in the required locations according to city's policies.
Does the board have any revisions to the agenda, including any requests to remove items on the consent calendar for, we don't have a consent calendar, do we? For further discussion. Anyway, any changes?
Nope.
Okay, may I have a motion to approve the agenda?
I move.
And do we have a second?
I'll second.
All right, so we have a motion by Board Member Hare and a second by Board Member Bachman. Any discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to public comment, this time has been set aside for members of the public to address the Historic Site Preservation Board on agenda items and items of general interest within the subject matter jurisdiction of the board. Although the board values your comments pursuant to the Brown Act, it generally cannot take any actions on items not listed on the posted agenda. There will be 3 minutes assigned to each speaker, and then testimony for public hearing, which are items 2A and B, will be taken at the time of the hearing. So I don't have any speaker slips. Anyone in the room wishing to speak? And is there anyone online that wants to speak?
No one online has raised their hand.
All right. Okay. So we will now close the public comment and proceed to the next item on the agenda, which is the consent calendar. We have 1 item on the consent calendar. Does anyone have any comments or revisions to the draft minutes from May 5th? No? Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes or the consent calendar?
I move.
Okay.
I'll second.
Okay. We have a motion by Board Member Hare and a second by Board Member Panessa. Is there any further discussion? Okay, I will call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to public hearings. The first item is an owner-initiated application for historic site designation of the Lawrence Harvey residence located at 300 West Morito Place, assessor parcel number 505-293-005, case number HSPB 180. May we have the staff report, please?
So the first public hearing item, the Lawrence Harvey residence, is currently classified as a Class 3 site located in the Old Las Palmas neighborhood. Just for a little bit of context, the owners of the home reached out to the planning department to discuss their proposed project to construct a detached structure and make minor additions to the east elevation of the existing home. After discussing the project with city staff, the owner decided to initiate the designation proceedings first and then take on subsequent steps for the design review regarding the proposed minor alterations to the site. So 300 West Morito Place in aerial view is the area highlighted in blue on the screen. The adjacent parcel is owned by the current owner, but is considered a separate parcel. Therefore, the only section that is included as part of this designation request is the area in blue. This aerial view does help give us a little bit of a lay of the land. The main living space of the residence is a large massing closer to the east side of the property line. And there is a north and south wing that creates a center courtyard. That includes the crucifix swimming pool in the center, along with some open space there. And the property also includes a tennis court to the north of the building. The photographs that you see on the screen gives you a better idea of the architectural language and the details that were utilized by architects Buff and Huntsman. completed around 1969 to 1970. This home was a custom designed home for actor Lawrence Harvey, who owned the property until 1972. The late modern design aesthetic shows a refined post and beam construction that emphasizes design qualities of indoor-outdoor living. The north elevation seen on the far upper right-hand corner, which is the street elevation, it's the home that you see the home along Morito Place. The unadorned natural stone finish, deep overhangs, and the clean horizontal lines really command its presence on the street. Although HSPB does not have interior purview, the view from the inside looking out towards the entry pathway and the interior courtyard is seamless and uninterrupted as you follow those glulam horizontal beams moving from the inside to the out. In accordance with the Historic Preservation Ordinance, Section 8.05.070, the site must meet one or more of the following criteria to be considered for reclassification as a historic site. According to the details in the report, this property did go through a more significant restoration in 2017, which brought back some character-defining features and removed some non-historic additions. Again, the home was designed for actor Lawrence Harvey by well-known architects Buff and Hensman. The historic context and importance of the entertainment industry in Palm Springs is significant and is told through this property. And the designers of the site are associated with many important projects throughout Southern California, including Case House number 20, the Bass House. 300 West Morito Place is a rare example of a home designed by this firm, particular to Palm Springs. And the design of the home is representative of this period. So based on these findings in the report, the Harvey residence meets criterion 2, 3, and 5. And as a request for Class 1 status, the property must also meet the necessary categories for integrity, confirmed during the site visit and in the report. The location, design setting, feeling, association, they all remain intact. And the restoration in 2017, again, brought back many design details. And there is a high level of integrity for the workmanship, as you can see throughout the design of the home. The character-defining features of the home are listed in the report, and staff has added some additional features to that list. That complete list is on the screen here. It's also in the staff report and in the draft resolution. The building footprint, the site design, the unique shape of the swimming pool, the planters around the edges of the building, the horizontality, the post and beam construction. These are all wonderful details that are outlined in the report, as well as identified as character-defining features for the design. And there is, of course, a section where we identify the non-contributing elements. And of course, this is to provide clarity for identifying non-original features for future review. The report was very detailed and informative. The site visits provided a lot more clarity for the board as well as staff to understand the design of the site itself and its context. In conclusion, this Class 3 site does meet the qualifications for reclassification as a historic site. And because it retains much of its integrity, the staff does find that this home meets the criterion and deserves to be reclassified as a Class 1 landmark. While the owner's original intent was to pursue alterations to the home, they chose to proceed with designation first, and then they will follow the required processes to pursue their scope of work for minor alteration. So staff is recommending HSPB adopt the draft resolution for Class 1 status of the Lawrence Harvey residence. With that, I can take any questions regarding the staff report. We do have the writer of the report, Jade Nelson, online to answer any questions as well.
Okay. Does anyone have questions for staff at this time? I just had one question. I think I brought it up yesterday at the site visit. On the east elevation, is that it? If you, can you go back to the character defining feature? The non-contr.
The best view. Is that the best view for?
No, I wanted the
Oh,
list
the
of
list. Oh,
character,
I'm
yeah.
sorry.
The east, I'm sorry, the rear elevation, was that the entire elevation? I thought it was really just a piece of that elevation that was had been altered. Is that correct? Or
So
is it really the whole side?
I believe that elevation has been altered, and we do have Jade online to provide more clarity, because that rear elevation is actually identifying the elevation that's facing the pickleball court. the
Yes,
tennis court.
okay, no, that's fine, that's clear enough for me, I just wasn't sure if it was just a portion of the elevation. Okay, no other questions? Okay, is the applicant team here? Nobody's here?
I think they're all joining online, actually.
Okay, well, so I'm just trying to see, has anyone requested to speak, hands raised? Are we going to Jade directly if we have questions, or property owner or
The Zoom
anyone?
account, I believe to be associated with the architects of the project did briefly raise their hand, and I can
Because we can,
add them.
yeah, we can take, before we open the public hearing for general comments, if we can have any comments from the applicant team, including the report preparer now.
Marmal Radsner, you're able to unmute if you'd like.
Marmal Radziner is here. If Jade wants to speak to anything in addition, that would be great. We're comfortable with the representation.
Okay, does Jade have any comments? Let's see if he has any comments, and then do any board members have questions for?
Jade, do you have any additional comments you'd like to provide? I don't know which of your accounts, you have two, I don't know which one to unmute. Let's do them both.
Yeah, maybe.
Can you hear me now? Is that okay?
You may need to mute one of your accounts. There's quite an echo when you speak.
Oh, that better? Hello?
We can kind of hear you. It's much quieter on this account, and there is a more modest echo.
Yeah.
Hey. Will this work?
Well, let me see, do any board members have questions for Jade? Are we good with the report? Maybe we can just let Jade know that we don't have any questions. Thanks for the detailed report. It's all pretty clear, apparently, to all of us.
Great.
Okay, all right. So I will now open the public hearing. Is there anyone in the audience who wishes to speak on this item? And is there anyone else online with a hand raised to speak on this item? And if so, they have 3 minutes.
There's nobody else.
Buddy, okay. All right, well, seeing no further speakers, I'm going to close the public hearing. Now the action is with the board. Do we have any discussion or comments?
I was just so pleasantly surprised to see a residence by Buff and Hensman. I totally unexpected. I would have, anyway, it was delightful, and I am so glad that we have the opportunity to designate.
I concur. Any other comments from the board members, or shall we proceed to a motion? We're good? Okay, no further discussion. May I have a motion, please?
Okay.
Board member Hare.
I move that we recommend designation of 300 West Morito Place that we adopt the resolution HPSB number 180, and that we recommend to the City Council that we designate the Lawrence R. Harvey residence as a Class 1 site. That's HPSB number 180, APN number 505-293-005.
Okay, do we have a second? Only one.
Fine,
Board
I'll
Member
second.
Payanese, okay. So I have a motion by Board Member Hare and a second by Board Member Payanisa. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimously 4-0. All right. Thank you, everyone online. Okay, the next item is an application by the City of Palm Springs for historic site designation of the Hill residence located at 877 West Panorama Road, assessor parcel number 504-201-026, case HSPB number 181. May we have the staff report, please?
Item 2B, the Hill House is located on 877 West Panorama Road. It's in the Little Tuscany neighborhood, and it was identified as a Class 3 site designed by John Porter Clark in 1940. So the application before the board today is to review and determine if the site meets the qualifications for historic designation. The owners were requesting to demolish the existing detached garage structure, which triggered the board level review as a major alteration to a Class 3 site. During the March meeting, HSPB requested a stay to initiate the designation proceedings, which would result in a historic resources report. Staff received the final report in May, and with that, there was a conclusion in that report stating that the existing site does not meet the criteria for reclassification. The report included 2 historic photographs that revealed the condition of the home shortly after it was completed in 1940. In this image, we see that the design intent of the forms of the home itself, but more importantly, the materiality. This masonry used for the home appears to retain its natural finish, which allows for the patterns of the stone to be seen clearly. At some point in time, the exterior was painted white, and the landscaping around the site itself changed, which altered the relationship of the building and the relationship the building had with the original site. The current condition further departs from that original design intent. The next photograph that we see, it's actually really a wonderful view of the original site context. Most of the area is considered to be on a hillside. The historic photograph shows the importance of the unfinished masonry in the context of the natural rocky landscape. The design of the home reflects an integration with the surrounding landscape, and the articulation around the home seems to respond with the rocky berms in front of the home and around the site. Just like the application of paint on the masonry, at some point in time, these large boulders and rocky berms of the natural landscape were cleared, and the home was stripped of its natural setting. And we see that in the photo to the right-hand corner of the slide. The current condition actually brought back some of those larger rocks in certain areas to the site, but overall, the original design and siding and setting of the home was not restored. When evaluating the site against the criteria for historic designation, the residence was not considered the earliest homes that influenced the pattern of development in this area. It was also not found to be the most exemplary example of that style of architecture from the 40s. And the most distinctive material that was the key component of the design itself was altered with different applications of paint and the site being altered over time. criterion 5 speaks specifically to significant architects and designers as it relates to the resource. While this home is attributed to the notable architect John Porter Clark, many of his design ideas, particularly the importance of the building within its natural setting, has been compromised. Also, the report identified other more notable works of his that better exemplify his design genius, his influence on the field, and some which were identified that are located nearby in the same neighborhood. So based on these findings, 877 West Panorama, the home of Ms. Hill, did not meet the criteria for local designation. Typically, the analysis of integrity follows the criteria. In this case, the integrity findings, while they are described in more detail in the staff report, were not further analyzed here because the site itself did not meet the criteria for designation. And the integrity findings help determine if a resource has the potential to be a Class 1 landmark. And so it was excluded from the slides. And in the conclusion slide, we find that the evidence of the report that was presented, the report drafted by GPA Consulting, we also had some additional information provided by the applicant team and their representatives. All of that information concluded that the Hill residence at 877 West Panorama does not meet the criteria for reclassification as a Class 1 or Class 2 site. The owner's position is that they do not wish to pursue historic designation. And as a city initiated application, we are recommending that based on the findings, that HSPB deny the application for historic designation to move forward. And furthermore, we recommend that this site be removed from the Class 3 list. So with that, I can take any questions of the board. We do have the applicant's representatives both present in person. Rob is here in person, and the others that are joining online for any further questions.
Okay, thank you. Does the board have any questions for staff at this time?
I have one question. So, more obscure, John Porter Clark was a more significant architect operating in Palm Springs, and I just want to make sure I understand this. It's because there's been so many alterations to the house over the decades that kind of his vision is really no longer evidence, and so that's why that doesn't meet that criteria.
Yes, so we're looking at the design intent of John Porter Clark, and if his design intent is seen through his design here, as well as when it comes to association with a notable architect or notable figures, you also do an analysis of their body of work to see if it's the best representation. So the reports identified other works of John Porter Clark that were better representations of his line of work.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, we do have a representative.
Just here to answer questions.
Okay, great, thank you.
We agree with staff's recommendation.
Okay, thank you very much. And how about, is there anyone online representing the
There-
applicant team?
There is another representative of the applicant's team, their attorney Sherry. I don't know if she wishes to address the board. Sherry, if you wish to address the board this time, would you raise your hand? Okay, I will unmute you. Sherry, go ahead.
Hi, this is Sherry Bonsell from Greenberg Glesker. We agree with the staff report and the findings in the staff report. And I also want to acknowledge that we had 2 historic reports done. The most recent report done by the city was done by GPA Consulting. We agree with their findings, as well as the findings of the prior historic analysis that was done by Dr. Jerabek at ASA that came to the same conclusion. While we do understand how important John Porter Clark was to Palm Springs and to architecture in general. The report itself found that that this particular building didn't retain this high degree of architecture integrity and historic significance, and that it wasn't considered a rare and exemplary resource or the best of the work of Clark, and that it had been substantially altered before our clients even purchased it back in the 70s and 80s. And so based on the findings in the report and the statement by staff, we recommend that the property not be designated as a Class 1 or Class 2 structure. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Not from the applicant's team.
Okay.
There is a member of the public.
Okay.
That's the item, though.
So if we are, that's it with the applicant team, I'm going to go ahead and open the public hearing. Open the public hearing, I'm sorry. Is there anyone else in the room who'd like to speak on this item? No. Okay, well then let's go to online folks who,
Online, we have Jade Nelson.
Oh,
with us
okay.
today, So I will,
uh-oh. Hopefully
Jade,
that
you can go
works.
ahead and unmute yourself, and hopefully you aren't in the echo chamber still.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, much better.
Yes, much better.
Okay, great. So, I'm very familiar with this property, and I remembered going in it when it was for sale back in 2024. And I'm just curious whether permits were pulled to do the work, or if they started doing work without permits.
I'm not sure, staff, are we supposed to be entertaining questions from the public?
It's more for comments.
Yeah, more of a comment period, not questions. I think the report, I believe, made it clear, which is online, the sequence of events for the permits. And what had,
Okay.
yeah,
Also, I would argue that the changes made in the 70s and 80s, based on my visit to the house in 2024, were not major alteration. More of the John Porter Clark design was apparent and existing than not. So I know this had come before the board a few times, and I followed it loosely, but I'm really surprised to see a removal of Class 3 status. I realize all the work has been done now, and it's a bit late. But really, I mean, this really brings back the point of how important it is for the city and the HSPB to do community outreach and outreach to the Board of Realtors, so that realtors and real estate agencies are fully aware of all the properties that are on the Class 3 list. I just think it's a real unfortunate situation. That's all I'm saying.
thank you, Jade. Appreciate your comments. Has anyone else raised their hand in the interim? Are we?
There are no other hands raised.
Okay, well then I am going to close the public hearing. Oh, sorry.
No.
Okay. I'm closing the public hearing, and now the action is with the board. Do we have comments or further discussion?
Okay, I'll go.
Cricket's turn.
So, back whenever, I don't remember when we did the site visit, was that February?
Probably in February.
I guess I agree with Jade that it's a interesting property. We've talked about this property a couple of times now. But I think from the report, at least to me, it's pretty clear with the alterations that it's had over the decades, that it really doesn't retain the design elements, the significance that it could have. And so I am still at a point where I would agree with the staff report that we not designate it as a Class 1.
Okay. Any other comments?
I agree with you.
Okay, then perhaps I can maybe just make some closing comments before we take a vote. Just to reiterate, because I think you mentioned the municipal code, but we didn't specifically say that this property was identified in the citywide survey prior to the current alterations as eligible. It's in the report for both the national, California, and local listing. Now, that was back in 2016. So I just wanted to make that clear for the record. But this is the third time the property has been before this board, and I think we have all can agree that we've done everything within our purview and according to the ordinance. And for the board's decision at the March meeting, the property owner did proceed through the process of having an evaluation done of the property in accordance with the criteria, which is what we asked be done, not only because of the ordinance, but because the previous evaluation did not specifically address criteria. And equally important for me is that we now have full transparency regarding the alterations to the property, which some have been substantial. So now we have before us a report and a staff recommendation that the property is not eligible for either class 1 or 2 designation. And I just want to go, before we vote, on record as saying that I do have some professional differences of opinion regarding the consultant evaluation of significance, particularly before the recent alterations, similar to what Jade has stated. But I do think we've done all we can as a board. And in reality, the property as it stands today has been pretty heavily altered, and it just does not retain integrity. So I am prepared to concur with the staff recommendations. And if that's no other comments, I will entertain a vote.
All right. Oh, did you want to?
No.
Okay. I will move that, wait, where's my reading here? Is it the other, this? Yeah, that we adopt a resolution of the Historic Site Preservation Board to the City of Palm Springs, recommending that the Historic Site Preservation Board deny the request for historic designation of 877 West Panorama Road, HSPB number 181.
And do we have a second?
I second.
Does that include removing it as a class 3, like the staff recommended?
Can you let us finish our vote? And then Sarah will clarify that for you. So we have a motion by Board Member Payanesa and a second by Board Member Hare. Any further discussion? Seeing none, I will call the question. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Aye. The motion passes unanimously 4-0. And Sarah, can you answer his question? I think the answer is yes.
So the recommendation as stated in the staff report as well as the draft that you read does include the removal of the property from the class 3 list.
Right. Okay. All right. So we are moving on to unfinished business. We have no unfinished business listed, and we'll move on to new business. We have no new business, so we will move on to reports, requests, and comments. Are there any brief general comments and/or other issues of concern for members of the board? Can you entertain me saying a few things for, this is my last meeting, and so I just wanted to thank the city council for giving me the opportunity to serve 2 terms on this board, and also acknowledge our wonderful staff, Sarah, Preservation Officer, and our Assistant Director, Anthony, and the board. I wish everyone was here so I could say thank you and goodbye, but we have a small representation tonight. And I wanted to also acknowledge all of the other great board members I've worked with over the last few years. It's been a really interesting experience, and it's interesting how each board kind of has its own personality. And this board, we've had some very lively discussions, and we don't always agree, but I think there's a lot of professional respect amongst us, I would hope. So I just have 4 things I wanted to say, quick comments. This is germane to reports, requests, and comments. and Sarah, you may bring this up, but the certified local government grants are being resurrected by the State Office of Historic Preservation. And Sarah may have a little more information on it, but I just wanted to reiterate two topics that we had previously discussed, I think even with this board, during my tenure, but is an LGBTQ historic context statement for the city, including contributions of architects, advocacy efforts, and important architecture, and also the role of the city of Palm Springs in the AIDS epidemic. I think there are many stories to be told in that area of national significance. And then the second one that we had discussed was doing an architecture context for sort of picking up where the survey left off on modernism and carrying it into the 1980s. Because we've had a little bit of difficulty with designating some properties without a context statement that goes into that period. So just some ideas that, we've kicked around before that you might all consider moving forward. And then I also encourage staff and the board to consider, or actually encourage nominations of properties of social, ethnic, and cultural significance in Palm Springs. We've also talked about that for years, and I think we started an effort to do that as part of an annual work plan, but maybe that can be picked up somewhere along the way. And then I would also encourage staff to honor the board's request, and mine specifically, at multiple meetings to the city attorney to conduct a workshop or a study section related to the California Environmental Quality Act and historical resources, specifically the application of CEQA to the citywide survey and the preservation ordinance, or section 8.05 of the municipal code. And then finally, I would also encourage board members to attend annual training in historic preservation. There's one sentence from the actual requirements of a certified local government that says each board member is required to attend at least one informal or educational meeting, seminar, workshop, or conference per year that pertains directly to the work and functions of the commission and would be approved by the state. They're pretty loose about, because you can't make people go, but it does say required. So I would just, encourage planning department. I know I've asked before and there isn't money. There are a lot of free things online that you can look into, and maybe Sarah can look into that as well. I would encourage people to join the California Preservation Foundation. It doesn't cost that much. They have a lot of webinars and online training, some of which I think are free. I don't think they charge for all of the webinars. And then finally, Sarah, you may have or you can address this in yours, but I think you had mentioned that there were going to be some updates to this section 805 of the municipal code, and I would hope that the city would hold some type of public information sessions, workshops related to that for those of us. I will now be a member of the public and would like to attend those meetings, because I do have some thoughts and ideas about improvements that could be made to the ordinance moving forward. So those are my comments. Thank you, everybody.
I just have one, sorry to step on your toes. As the newest member of the board, I just wanted to thank you. I learned in my short time being on the board with you, I learned a lot from you, so.
Oh, thank you.
I appreciate it.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
And I just wanted to say on behalf of myself, how much I have appreciated your leadership and just thoughtfulness that you've brought to this this board, and how much I've learned from you. And it's been a great experience. We will miss you. I will miss you.
Thank you. Appreciate that. Okay. So, oops, sorry, where's my script? We're going to be moving on then to see if we have any staff comments.
I do have a couple. So Chair Hansen mentioned the CLG grant. We did get notification from the state that they are the grant program is back, and so they're looking at, the cycle is back. And so we did go ahead and express our interest in wanting to be part of that grant cycle. We had submitted all of our information related to our reporting on times that we will be looking at the opportunities that are there, and we'll keep the board posted on what new developments there are and if we are able to gain any grants for that program. So it is very exciting, especially since we had a whole year where there really wasn't much. So that is exciting. One quick reminder, tomorrow evening, we do have a joint meeting with the City Council at the Convention Center. It is a dinner. And so I think for the most part, people have already RSVP'd with the clerk's office, but I just wanted to give everyone a quick reminder about that. And then I did hear from the clerk's office about some training opportunities that are coming up. I don't have specific dates, but very recently there have been a lot of changes regarding the Brown Act, and so they are recommending that even our sitting board members attend the new training because there's a lot of new information that's come before everyone, and so along with the new members that are existing members attend that training. So I'll have more information about that, and I believe it can be both virtual or in person, so more information to come. And then kind of piggybacking on that, our next meeting, we will be holding elections, and we'll likely be seeing our newly appointed members. We're expecting to hear kind of the official announcement of who those members are, but that will be announced through the City Council, and so get that information. But I believe they should be sworn in time for our July meeting. So hopefully we'll have a full board. And of course, my last comment was to Chair Hansen. I just wanted to personally thank you for your service. You have been serving on this board since April 2021, which is a little bit after the pandemic. So you kind of saw it all in terms of our struggle virtually, and then kind of going back and coming back in person, and then doing our hybrid. But I can't thank you enough for how much you've brought to the board, to the community, to our discussions, and personally for me, just the level of expertise that you have on all of the fields relating to preservation has been encouraging, and I definitely know generally where you live, so I will probably I won't come to your house, but I definitely will be reaching out because I think that the guidance that you've given our board and staff has been invaluable, and it really has made for wonderful discussion on this board. And I think that not only do we see that, I think the community also appreciates that, because it shows how much time and effort we're putting into these applications, and I hear it from applicants all the time. So I'd like to thank you again for your service, and don't go too far away because you might hear me knocking, but thank you again.
All right, well, thank you.
And really, you make us smarter. It's that simple.
Well, I don't know about that, but
1 year, you can come back.
I don't have a clue where I'll be in a year.
Do you have any closing comments?
Ditto. I mean, I'm the new guy in the room in a lot of ways, but I've enjoyed getting to know you and working with you. So thanks again for all your hard service.
Good luck with the next chair and vice chair as well. I'm sure you'll do great. And good luck to maybe listening, maybe not, incoming new board members. It's a very good experience. So, and I'll be there tomorrow, hopefully, and you won't.
I will not.
And you're gonna.
I'll do that.
Okay. All right.
Do we have our own
Can't pass up
table?
a free chicken breast.
There's usually I don't think there were any
Not last
things
year.
on
We
last
sort of
year
just
where
congregated.
everybody just kind of sat where they, I mean, usually the board sits together, but we're not gonna fill a table, so we'll be with somebody else.
You don't have to sit with us if you don't want to.
All right, is that, are we,
Two.
comments, reports, requests, and comments, are we done? I think that's it. All right, then I am going to adjourn the Historic Site Preservation Board to its regularly scheduled meeting on Tuesday, July 7th, 2026 at 5:30 PM. You will meet in the large conference room at City Hall, 3200 Tops Canyon Way. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
You go out with a nice, efficient